how kids actually can get a mortgage.
More than one source of income. Second job, side job, housing prices are going up. As if you can get into it, get into it.
Can we talk about the evolution of mortgage conditions?
Housing prices don't look to be coming down, at least not significantly in the near future. Kind of shaky waters. Starts with a conversation. We can access 90+% of potential borrowers with the program set that we offer. There really isn't a reason to wait.
Hello everyone! Today on A&D Digest we're diving into a hot topic that sparked widespread discussion: the changing landscape of mortgage practices across generations. Recently, a TikTok video went viral discussing how previous generations could afford homes at a young age, while many of today's well-earning youth can barely afford to rent. To us to explore this issue is Mike Pearson, sales leader at A&D Mortgage. Mike, welcome back to the studio. As always, I'm happy to be here with you.
Here we are again, getting the band back together.
Right. Thank you so much again for joining us today. I'm sure you know the topic and what we're going to talk about, right?
Well, I heard a little bit about it, but explain.
So there's a trend going on TikTok right now where people just talk about their first mortgage that they got like back in the days.
Okay.
What the mortgage payment is and like for how much they got their first house.
Very interesting.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Let's view this video, the TikTok trend, with our viewers and you too. So we will have a better understanding what's the discussion is going to be tonight.
Okay, sounds good.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon-eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That should not be our standard. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now, but I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it?
So that's the trend.
All right.
I'm sure you're surprised as I am because those prices, those mortgage payments are crazy low.
Yeah, it's amazing looking back at the trend in housing prices and all the other things that we pay for.
Right,
so
right.
It's different.
And what we are facing basically right now is how young families, how kids actually can get a mortgage. And they're facing a big issue right now, they're a big problem that most of their money is like they're hardly renting a property.
Right.
So getting a mortgage is even more difficult.
Very
to
difficult,
them.
sure.
So that's going to be our topic and hopefully we're going to help them figure it out after this video.
Okay, we'll do our best.
The core issue, and I'm sure we have to start with this, why do you think it's become more challenging for young people today to buy their own homes?
Well, there's a lot of directions you can go there. So you can start with mortgage prices or house prices. You can talk about the lack of supply, new properties on the market, which raises prices, rising rent costs, rising insurance and taxes, everything, educational costs, even where you live. So if you take, you look back 40 years, the last number I saw was 60% or so of the population lived in suburban areas, and that's up to like almost 80% now. So a lot more people living in cities. Cities more expensive than in the country. That doesn't help either.
Right. That's true. Like the cities when the huge changes, I would say, in the population at all.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about the evolution of mortgage conditions? So before, like, what was like how hard was the mortgage process? Like, what conditions brokers were working on?
Yeah, again, a lot of places you can go with that, and I have not been in the industry that long. It's been 20 years, but there was a huge industry before that, obviously. But just the evolution of primarily only full doc loans to stated income subprime loans. then going back to full doc loans, and now with the invention of non-QM loans, we're always trying to strike a balance of responsible lending and then recognizing there's populations of potential borrowers that have the great ability to pay back mortgages, but may not have traditional financing or traditional income options to provide. So there's that striking the balance between good quality lending and making sure that people are not put into a mortgage they can't afford, but at the same time recognizing that there's more than one source of income, especially in today's economy. Almost everybody I know has second jobs, side hustles, whatever it is.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways to get it done.
How hard do you think it was for the loan officers to adopt to this changes, like the conditions and everything?
Yeah, like anything else, some adopted and adapted and some didn't, right? It's almost like the evolution of the industry. So, plenty have adapted over time. Lots of changes from, regulatory and compliance standpoint to documentation needed. So, those who have figured it out have, thrived, or at least been able to, manage kind of shaky waters and make it to where we are today.
With those changes, how does A&D Mortgage actually help young people adjust their housing needs?
Well, A&D Mortgage does all types of mortgage lending. We like to say that we can access 90+% of potential borrowers with the program set that we offer. But non-QM specifically targets borrowers that might have alternative documentation sources or multiple income streams, things like that, self-employed borrowers where traditional income is looking at kind of their taxable income, where we can look at other alternatives, whether that's bank statement loans or whether that's a DSCR loan where the property is going to pay for itself, things like that. So the alternative financing options helps fill the void. But then just an openness to go through the loans themselves and understand kind of where the borrower's coming from. Maybe there was past issues, but how they recovered from that, and make sense underwriting decisions based on that.
But at the same time, going with non-qualified mortgage, that means that the borrower will have to put more down payment. With young families, they unfortunately might not have that much money to put down. So 90% will be, I feel like, the best scenario for them. It's like putting like 10% down, 90 LTV.
Well, again, if you want to go back into the past, if we want to talk about the 1950s and 60s with those low sales prices, people are already putting 40, 50% down also.
Right.
So we have to get in a mindset of savings. It's very important to save for that down payment. We want, generally, especially on the non-QM side, we want borrowers to have reserves for that fact. But it does start with the mindset of, just wanting a mortgage doesn't get you a mortgage. There are steps that you need to take.
I see. Considering the economic changes, how should potential homebuyers prepare for purchasing in unpredictable market?
Now, I know I just said that people should prepare and put more money down and all that, but the number one rule of thumb right now with the way housing prices are going up is if you can get into it, because housing prices don't look to be coming down, at least not significantly in the near future. Certainly down payment is a huge barrier of entry, potentially for a first-time home buyer. But if you can find an avenue, whether that's a government loan program, whether that's a down payment assistance program, something of that nature, if you can get into the house, get into the house. Because you could be spending the next 3 years saving up money, which people find it hard to do anyway. But by the time you've saved up all that money, the house price has gone up more than what you've been able to put away.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. So if you have the opportunity to get a mortgage right now, please do, because later on with that money you saved, that might be not enough.
No, and I kind of have a pet peeve the last couple of years. I've heard a lot of people talk about, just get into the mortgage. You'll be able to refinance in 6 months. Don't worry if it's difficult right now. You'll be able to refinance out of it.
Just get it.
I don't want anybody to jump into financing that's going to make it a struggle on their personal budget. But at the same time, if you have the ability to make the payment and you can get over that hurdle of down payment, there really isn't a reason to wait. Like I said, I would not be looking to game the market and hoping that pricing is going to come down 20%. I haven't seen any indicators so far that say that that's
so
what's
if
going
the
to happen.
borrower feels confident getting a mortgage, it's definitely a good time.
Yeah, and depending on the loan programs, there's lots of ways to get a co-borrower on the loan with you. There's a lot of programs that allow gifts if you have a parent or relative that is willing to gift you some down payment. There are some big hurdles to get into the home buying process, but if you can get across those, it's best to get in when you have the ability and not wait, hoping that things are going to become more affordable.
Right. So, for example, if we'll have a young family getting a mortgage with us, they will have to put most likely 5% down from their own funds, and the rest can be gifted from their parents, for example.
I mean, it all depends on the loan program.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
But generally, most programs have a minimum down payment requirement. They may or may not have to be their own funds, or it can come from a gift. So there's lots of ways to get it done. Best start is to head over to your A&D Mortgage account representative and get the best feedback, and kind of place your scenario and find out what the best solution is for your borrower.
And also watch our webinars. Go to the Learning Center on the A&D Mortgage website and gather information there too, because
Absolutely.
We're making
Lots
this
of
for a
resources
reason.
there.
To educate loan officers and the brokers. Michael, some successful stories that you think going to be helpful for our viewers to understand where A&D Mortgage and their partners made a significant difference in helping young families achieve their dream home.
Specifically, I'm a little bit removed from the day-to-day as far as individual loans, but we do hear from brokers all the time. We have lots of testimonials on our site. You can go and check out our Google reviews and stuff like that. But there are lots of families that have been able to get into a home. A lot of times when they weren't able to with the first lender they went to their bank where they bank, and they try to get a mortgage and they couldn't meet their requirements, and came through one of our fantastic mortgage lender partners. And they came through A&D Mortgage, and we were able to obtain financing for those borrowers. We hear from those kind of borrowers every day. As I said, that the Google reviews is a great place to look, because that's not us posting about us. You got borrowers posting their comments post closing and that kind of thing.
With pictures and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great things about working here, but one of those things is the families that you get to touch. Seems like a silly thing. We are kind of removed from that. Generally the originator is working with the borrower, but we do get to hear those stories, and it's very nice when we do get to hear them.
I 100% agree. So Google reviews, Zillow, there are, I'm sure there are several other sources where people can just find the reviews and make sure that the A&D Mortgage is the right place to get a mortgage with.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Michael, I think now it's more clear. It is still doable for young families to get a mortgage. We are here to help. We're here to advise. So there's no doubt that you should come to us and ask questions, basically.
Yes. There are, I don't know how many programs that we have now, 30 maybe. So there are lots of options. Have a conversation. We have a very knowledgeable sales team. We have a great scenario desk. We have great underwriting support, broker support. We have all the resources to help you out. Starts with a conversation. If there's a way to get it done, we can probably find a way to get it done. It's very important that borrowers seek out a good mortgage professional in the form of a mortgage broker, mortgage banker, someone that can give them some good advice. The first choice is not always the best choice. So definitely shop it around, and we hope those originators will look to place those loans with us. We really hope that we're a great value partner for them, and just seek out the information. We have lots of resources, and we love to be an assistance in the loan process.
Right. Michael, as always, it was great talking to you. Thank you very much for finding time to speak to me.
I'm more comfortable in these chairs.
Than the couch?
The couch, I kind of sunk in.
Right.
It didn't help when I had the belly. It's better when I can sit up.
We didn't have lunch yet, so maybe that's why also.
There you go. It's nice to be here.
Thank you very much again, Michael.
Thank you.
Big thank you to Mike Pearson for sharing his expertise, and to our viewers, of course, for tuning in. Stay informed, stay empowered, and until next time, take care and keep dreaming big with A&D Mortgage. See you soon.